Hey everyone, this is Jillian and I'm really excited to dive into today's topic. I want to talk about a question that I've been asked pretty much every single day, every other day at the very least. Can you actually make money teaching online? And I'm not talking about like pocket money or side money, a side income, but like an actual livable income. Is that possible? We know it used to be possible and then a lot of things happened, but is it still possible today? If you're not new to this channel, you've probably seen some of my other videos where I talk about different companies that you can work for, crunch some numbers and show you like what I've made or what it's possible to make, talking about my income, going over some tips and tricks and how to apply to different companies, and even talking about going independent. But today I want to dive a little bit deeper into this and talk about more of the how and why it works. Like, is it possible? How do you do it? And why is it that some teachers are able to have successful full-time or part-time jobs and actually make a living off of this and other teachers are not? And I will tell you that it doesn't matter. A lot of the things don't matter that you think it matters. So it doesn't matter like what you're teaching. It doesn't matter if you're teaching like business English or kids. It doesn't matter if you are it doesn't matter the experience that you have. It doesn't matter the degrees or certifications that you have or what country you're from or what your native language is. Every single person is going to have something that is a struggle to get past. So you're not looking at any teachers out there who just had everything handed to them. Every single teacher that has gotten to where they are, every single successful teacher that has gotten to where they are, have done so because they've overcome some struggles and they've overcome some hardships. I mean, to be completely honest, it's not just handed to anyone. So while you might be thinking, okay, but I don't have my TESOL certification, or I'm from South Africa and people don't want to hire me. There's the other teacher who is dealing with mental health issues and depression, or there's the other teacher who is dealing with an abusive relationship that they're struggling with on the side and it makes it hard for them. There's another teacher who knows absolutely nothing about technology, or the teacher who is completely camera shy and hates doing anything outside of teaching online. It's all about working smarter and not harder, recognizing where your strengths are, what you need to improve and what you have to work with, kind of just looking at everything that's going on around you, figuring out what you have to do for your own individual business, figuring out where you need to improve and what works for you, and actually taking action. Before we dive into this video topic any further today, please consider giving this channel some love and hit subscribe and click that bell notification so you don't miss our future videos on this channel. Your support helps this channel grow and you will be the first to see new videos about tips, tricks, tools, resources, and jobs for online teachers. Okay, so you're gonna see a lot of online teachers when they first start, the first thing that they're looking for, companies. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that's like inherently wrong with looking to work for a company first, but you do have to recognize and understand that a company is going to pay you less money than if you were to just go out and do it yourself. So if you can figure out a way to take out that middleman and just do it yourself, then you don't have to pay the middleman. If you really want to make a livable income, a livable, scalable income that you're in control of, and you get to keep the profit from it, you don't have to pay some other company a portion of your income for your hard work, then going independent is the way to go. And I know it sounds a lot scarier than it really is. It does sound really scary, and when you first start, it is scary. Okay, so if I'm getting asked every single day, can you earn a livable income, or how do you earn a livable income? And the best way to do it is to be going independent. Then what is stopping teachers? Like, what's stopping everybody from going independent? Why do we still have these companies out there that are paying teachers like $10 an hour? This is a multi-layered question and there are a couple of different reasons, but it boils down to two different things. So the lack of knowledge, so not knowing the how-to of the process. And the other part almost always boils down to the lack of confidence. Because to be completely honest, anybody who has the confidence to do something, even if they don't know how to do it, they're still gonna go out there and try, right? Like, okay, I got this, I'm confident in myself, I will learn how to do this. So if you can start with confidence, then the knowledge of it will come to you because you're confident that you can learn and do it, and nothing's gonna stop you, right? Anybody who really has true confidence in their ability to make things happen, they are just going to go and figure out how to make it happen, right? So those two things, knowledge and confidence, most of the time they go hand in hand with each other. So hopefully after today's video, you're gonna leave with a little bit of both of these. So a little bit more than you came in here with both of these. That's kind of my goal here. And if you're really serious, I want you to go ahead and grab, a pen and paper so that you can take notes, write things down as they come to you, write important things down from this video. So go ahead and pause this video while you do this and then come back to watch the rest of the video. So if you want to make this a successful business, because that's ultimately what this is, if you want to make this a successful business, you have to be business minded. If you want it to be a business that's making money, you have to treat it like a business. Right? I'm going to repeat that. If you want it to be a business, you have to treat it like a business. With any kind of business, you can't just like throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks, and then boom, you suddenly have a successful business. And an online teaching business is no different than that. So yes, there are going to be different things that you try and trial and error and see what works and doesn't work, but there's still a strategy that goes with it. So you really need to have a business plan when it comes down to it. And you're going to have to put the time and energy into learning how the business works and actually implementing it in order for it to work. Now, you're going to run into some teachers, especially like OG online ESL teachers who are around when everything hit the fan in China during double reduction, that are going to tell you differently. And this might cause some debate here, but I want to make this really, 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 really clear. If anybody tells you that to have a successful business, you need to create a flyer or a digital business card for WeChat, join a bunch of groups, put it up in the groups and start conversations that way, putting on the flyer like your curriculum and your qualifications and a picture of you and your WeChat ID, they're not giving you good advice. Not for 2023 and beyond, actually. This may have worked in the past. It does not work anymore. So for those of you who are new and you weren't around for double reduction, I'm going to give you a really quick explanation of what I just said because it probably doesn't make any sense. There used to be a lot of Chinese-owned ESL companies like VIP Kid, Magic Ear, Palefish, right? Wales English, Dada, all of those were Chinese-owned companies, and they would hire foreign teachers, so from like America and Canada and Australia, to come into their platforms online and teach their students. The Chinese Ministry of Education decided that this is way too strenuous for the students to have all this extra added on. It's like the keeping up with the Joneses was getting really hard for these kids. They had so many extracurricular activities, and there were some other political reasons as well that I'm not going to get into, but at the end of the day, they're like, okay, we're shutting this down. These companies are no longer to operate hiring these foreign teachers. And so a lot of these online English teachers effectively lost their jobs, in some cases overnight. Like in some cases they're like, okay, I know this is happening, but I'm going to log on, and boom, the website was no longer there. Their students were gone, everything was gone, and they suddenly had no job with no email, no, like nothing, boom, it just disappeared. So all of these teachers lost their jobs, and all of these parents lost their student's teacher. So all at the same time, you've got all of these teachers that lost their jobs, right? And on the other hand, you have all of these parents who don't have a tutor for their child anymore. And where do they meet? They all went to WeChat, which is the social media in China. It's the huge social media in China. Think of it like kind of like a Facebook, but it's more restricted. So this was a really unique situation at the time, because there were a ton of people that were looking for new teachers for their students, and it was really easy to just go on there and post a flyer saying, hi, this is the curriculum I teach, especially when some of the parents were looking for the exact same curriculum that their kids were taking before. So for example, if their student was in the middle of Wales English curriculum, that parent's looking for a teacher that has that curriculum and that can teach that so that their kid doesn't have to start all over in a new process or system. So it was a really unique situation where you could just post like your name, your picture, your experience, what companies you worked for, and what curriculum you had access to, start joining groups on WeChat and network, and the market was there. There was a ton of people that their services were displaced and they were urgently looking for somebody that they could take lessons with. Years later, it's 2023, these tactics do not work anymore. They worked for a very short period of time. They didn't work before that, they didn't work after that. They're never going to work again. It was just for that period of time where it was, you know, this unique situation that was going on. As a matter of fact, I personally think that it's a little bit harder to find students than it was before all of this happened, because now you have a whole bunch of teachers who did this and are already on WeChat. And anybody that's joining is like, oh, I want to go independent. Everyone's telling them, join WeChat, do this, get your stuff out there, post these flyers. So you have all of these new teachers that are joining WeChat and doing this exact same thing because that's what people have told them works. Even though it doesn't, they're all doing it because enough teachers from before are saying, yeah, that's how I got my students. Unfortunately, this causes a lot of issues. So now you've got parents who are like, okay, there's a lot of teachers here, I have my choice, and I'm going to try to get them to lower their rates. So a lot of these teachers will experience going on there and not seeing the same thing they were told happens. It's going to be a lot of, hey, well, these other teachers are only charging $5 an hour, so would you do it for $5 an hour? Like a lot of haggling. Parents have so many options to choose from. A lot of teachers will lower their rates because they're not getting, you know, they figure like, hey, well, something's better than nothing. Like, yeah, like, you know, they're only offering me $10 an hour, but I mean, it's better than no dollars an hour. So yes, I guess I'll take it. Ugh, right? Like that's what's happening. So it's a lot harder for teachers to go onto a site like WeChat and actually get paid something that can, you know, keep their utilities on. But is it still possible if you're starting your own online teaching business in 2023 or beyond, is it still possible to get in and make enough money to actually make this your full-time job? Can you still find students that are willing to come in and pay enough for their lessons, pay fair prices for their lessons that are going to pay for your rent and put food on your table? And the short answer is yes. The long answer is yes, but you have to make a business plan. You can't throw spaghetti on the wall and see if it sticks, and you definitely just can't go and throw a business flyer on WeChat and hope that you're going to get good quality leads that way, because it's not going to happen. So that leads me into the next question, which is, if what was working isn't working anymore, what does actually work, and how do you actually make a business plan? So the first part of it, right now, I want you to stop doing what everyone else is doing. So all the things that they told you to do, don't do it. Everyone's doing it. You don't stand out. And it's going to be really hard. You might get a client here and there, but for the most part, it's going to be really difficult for you. What you do need to be doing is finding out the need that people have and fulfilling that need for them. Think about, and I don't want to use the word niche because that word's so overused, it doesn't even mean anything anymore, I think, for the most part. But think about, who are you teaching? Like, think about the person you're teaching. Why do they want to learn? What do they want to learn? What's their biggest struggle? What have they tried and failed at? What's their biggest struggle, and how can you fix it? What is it that you can offer to bridge that gap? So that right there is how you're going to create and market your online lessons. If you go out there and do the same exact thing as everyone else, say, hey, I'm an online teacher, I teach ESL, this is what I teach, this is where I'm from, you're going to have the same results as everyone else, which is, okay, but will you accept $5 an hour? Because basically right now, you talking about supply and demand, the supply of teachers putting flyers out there advertising themselves is pretty high, and the demand for that right there, general teachers, is pretty low. By doing that, you're kind of putting yourself on the discount aisle sales shelf, and that's not where you want to be. At this point in the game, parents or prospective students are basically window shopping. So they are looking for, and you've probably heard me say this before, but I'll say it again, they're looking for the most acceptable teacher at the lowest price they can get that teacher at. So they're not looking for the best teacher that can give them results. And those aren't the parents that you want to be marketing yourself to. But by putting out a flyer, that's who you're marketing yourself to. The majority of people that you're going to run into when you put out a general flyer like that says, hey, I teach English, when you market yourself as a specialist in a certain area that can actually help your students achieve a specific goal, then you're going to start reaching those students and parents who have very specific goals that they want to reach, and they're looking for someone specifically that can help them reach that goal. If you want to find students that are going to pay you what you're worth, you have to be able to find a way to stand out from the crowd. And the best way to stand out from the crowd is how your specific classes can help them reach their specific goal. So you're going to want to really do your research on this. So figure out who your student is, what you want to teach, what their goals are, how you can help them, what their struggles are. And you're going to want to construct a class and design a class for them that is going to help them reach that goal. So going along with all of this, part of your planning and your business plan has to be paying attention to your students. And I'm not talking about just paying attention to the students that are already taking lessons with you and that, you know, are paid students. But if you are on social media and you have people following you and asking you questions, pay attention to them. If you do a free trial with a student and they come in, pay attention to them. Every second of interaction that you have with a student or potential student is an opportunity to learn something about them and to learn something about your own business and how you can help, you know, how the two can meet. This can be during class, before class, after class, in email exchanges or instant message exchanges, during a free trial, or even in like the comment section of your videos on any content that you create. Pay attention to who you're attracting, why they're coming to you, what they're looking for, what they need help on, the questions that they ask you, what their struggles are, what their strengths are. And don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, obviously, like, don't bombard everybody that comes in with like, hey, how old are you? Where are you from? What's your biggest struggle? How long have you, like, you don't have to bombard them, but don't be afraid to have that conversation. Ask those questions and, you know, kind of do some market research. Even if it's like unofficial market research, it's still market research that helps you learn about your audience, helps you learn about your potential students, and helps you connect with them better. And if you can figure out how they found your lessons, so you have a student, say you have a student that enrolls in your class, right? And you can figure out like, oh, okay, they found my lessons because of this kind of content that they like. You know that's working for you, right? So you're gonna do more of it. That's really good feedback to have. I've literally used that feedback every second since the second that I started teaching online, whether it be for a company or independently. That's all really good feedback to have. In 2023, you need to make a social media plan to have your students be able to find you, right? So it's not about you going out and finding students, it's about you becoming accessible to students so that they can find you, and then getting them to enroll in your classes because you've communicated through your messaging that what you have is what they need. Don't just go about it willy-nilly and like, okay, well, one day I'll try this and the next day I'll try this. Like, the first video is not going to work. Like, you're not gonna go and post an intro video on Little Red Book and then suddenly like be bombarded with followers and have like a ton of people that are joining your lessons. That's not how it works. You're gonna do it and repeat the process and repeat the process, and you know, then it's going to start snowball. It's like a snowball effect. But you can't just start a whole bunch of little snowballs all over the place, right? So I tried this and I tried this and I tried this and nothing's working, because you're never going to get that huge momentum of doing something. I'm not saying you can't change it up, but be strategic in everything that you do. This is a business. It's not just a, like, you know, hobby. Unless you want to treat it like a hobby, that's fine. But if you want this to be a business, you have to treat it like a business. And by all means, do not think that you have to stick to the Chinese market. As a matter of fact, I tend to find that the Chinese market is usually a little bit harder, I think, anyways, in my opinion. I think it's a little bit harder to break through into the Chinese market. You know, you've got a lot of teachers that are ready to give up because of it. And a lot of teachers that are new are being told, like, the Chinese market's where it's at, like, that's where you need to be, that's where all the students are, that's where they pay the money. And a lot of teachers have found this to be the opposite of the case. You're not just going to be able to get into a like parent-teacher connection group in this day and age and actually be able to find people that are willing to pay your prices because they've been on WeChat longer than you have, and they have more connections, and there's more options. They have more options for teachers than you do for students. Does that make sense? I think that the Chinese market is the hardest market to break into right now. Don't be afraid to try other areas around the world. There are people learning English everywhere. Like, I have students in America that are learning English. You actually don't even have to just teach ESL either. You can teach anything. You can teach math, you can teach science, you can teach history. I teach ELA, and some of my students are ESL students. By the way, if you're interested in learning how you can get outside of the Chinese marketplace and you want to learn how to do this, there is a training that's coming up on November 16th. I'll put the link in the description box, but I'm going to show you how you can start getting your own private students outside of China. So if that's something that you're interested in, pause this video really quick and go to the description box, click the link that says Beyond China, and I will see you all in the training, which is going to be recorded. So if you can't make the live session, you'll still get the recording afterwards. My short answer to the long question at the end of the day, yes, you can still make money teaching English online, but you're going to have to be methodical. You're going to have to be strategic. You're going to have a plan to do it. Have a strategy, have a plan. Then you're going to see way more success than if you went in there and just made a bunch of posts everywhere and hope for the best. So if you made it this far in the video, this is your sign that you need to take action, start listening to your students, start making a plan. If you made it this far and you're still like, okay, yeah, I can do this and I want to do this and I'm willing to do what it takes because this is what I want to do. This is your sign to take action. Start doing the things in your business that are actually going to grow your business and not just leave you frustrated. And the YouTube algorithm says that you're gonna like this video next, so I'll see you guys over there.